Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Very well. Today we are looking at the provision number 5, which provides for the hearing and determination of an election petition. In its current form, the Constitution of Zambia provides a time frame for the hearing of the election petition. Enlighten us on that, sir.
The Minister of Justice earlier in time in March, did put it to the Zambian people that there is need for us as a nation to consider amendments. Now we are looking at the Constitution, that is Articles 73, Article 1015 and 1032, which provide that parliamentary elections, petition, and presidential election shall be held within 90 days and 14 days of the filing of the petition, respectively. The proposal is that these provisions be amended to clarify that the petition shall not only be heard but also determined within a specified period of time. This is what has been put before us, for us to, as a nation, to debate and find the way forward.
If you remove the legalese, how do you break it down to me? What does that mean for me on the street?
What it means? Well, first of all, this thing is already in there, in the Constitution.
Okay.
Yes, to say the elections, the election petition should be heard. Yes, the hearing could happen, but is there determination? So, in courts, certain words look simple, but really they mean a lot. Sometimes in matters of constitution, and when we talk about the Constitution and constitutionalism, even a comma can mean a lot, even a comma. So this case looks so simple, but the nation is in dire need for us to relook at this and make things straight.
Make things straight. So now you did touch on certain words where you said that even just a comma is quite key, right? So on what you touched on is saying that the proposal is that the provisions the provisions be amended to clarify that the petitions shall not only be heard but also be determined. What exactly is determined? Can you break that down a little bit? If within this particular case, in addition to the word heard within the Constitution, especially when it comes to election petitions.
Okay, in courts of law, the word determine means a lot. It means the official conclusion of a matter, the deciding of a matter to its logical conclusion. It could be a contractual dispute, the judges have to determine whether there was a breach or not, and therefore conclude the matter. That is why that word determine is key and sacrosanct for it to be in the Constitution.
Quite noted. And once again, this is Voice of the People. If you're just tuning in, we are speaking to Mr. Kingsley Chibamba, who is a political vanguard. And we're touching on the provision number 5, where it states that we should provide for the hearing and determination of an election petition. If you'd like to be part of this conversation, do call us up. That's on 0955-997-997. Now, going back to you, Mr. Chibamba, there have been cases in the past where petitions were heard, but not really concluded within the required time frame. What kind of issues or consequences did this particularly cause?
First of all, you have only 5 years when you go through an election.
Right.
It could be tripartite, where you combine the presidential, the National Assembly, also the local government. Then there are disputes that arise. Like that, people go to court. Then you find these judges in court are so busy also with the cases that are already been pending. And during the electoral disputes, the cases just mushroom. There are so several, So you find that some cases are concluded maybe almost 3 years down the line. So like that, what are you fighting for? How are you going to catch up with your colleagues? So this is why it is very important for our cases or the Constitution to have a streamlined way with a time frame to say within 90 days the judges must be compelled or the courts must be obliged to work within that according to the law.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Chibamba. Are we referring to, for instance, to parliamentary hearings of election petitions, or is it more to do with presidential petitions? The reason I ask this is in the recent past, we've had a situation where you had a presidential petition that needed to be heard within, say, 10 days or 14 days and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah. What we are talking about is general to start with.
Okay.
We are talking about mostly according to what is put in the provision that we are discussing.
Can we get closer to the microphone?
That the provision that we are discussing right now, what is put before us is to do with the two, the presidential and also the parliamentary. The jurisdiction levels. The jurisdiction levels that some matters can be handled maybe at high court level, others at subordinate level, other matters may be handled within the provision of the tribunals set by the Local Government Act. So, but for our purpose today, I want to believe that we are discussing the presidential and the parliamentary.
Noted. This is once again Voice of the People. You can be part of the conversation. What are your comments, your questions? In studio with us, we do have Mr. Kingsley Chibamba, who is a political vanguard. And now, going back to you, Mr. Chibamba, what would you say would be the practical implications of this particular amendment for future elections within Zambia?
This is immense. It will be far-reaching because we are evolving as a nation. Speaking like this, we want to see expedited legal processes. We want to see people petition and they are given the attention that they much need and their matters resolved. And the things of leadership, the country shouldn't be held at ransom because of petitions for too long. So things must be expedited. Then you are going to look at issues to do, that is improved accountability. When you are going into an election, sometimes people overdo things, without being held accountable. But when this law is properly amended, the people that will vie for elections are going to be held accountable, So like that, we are going to see the change in the political climate during elections.
Our guest this morning is Mr. Kingsley Chibamba. We're discussing provision number 5 of the proposed constitutional amendments, which seeks to address this by ensuring that election petitions are both heard and concluded within a stipulated time frame. Enlighten us a bit. Provision number 5. How do we go about amending that part of the Constitution? What are the steps that we need to take?
Oh, well, as we are, as a nation, we come from far away. At one time, we were ruled by a company. Then later on, 1964 came, and constitutions have been, the constitution was drawn according to the country named Zambia. There was no Zambia before, of course. Right. We had the Moncton in 1936. Understand that there are times when you are doing the complete overhaul of the Constitution, and there are times when we are just doing simple change of commas or clauses, that is simple amendments. So you may not need to go to a referendum, like that. You may not
do we need to go to referendum in this case?
Not in this case.
Okay.
That will be wasteful, because we are a representative system already, where we have members of parliament, or to whom the Minister of Justice, that is Honorable Princess Kasune, had presented before them to say, we have this national issue. You go and talk to your people in the constituencies, because you are the representatives. Then we have other formations like civil society organizations. We have other groupings. We
do have a call on the line. Hello, good morning. You're through to Voice of the People. Wino Bwanje, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Mukambana Washimagi within Nsaka.
Okay. Go ahead, Washimagi. What's your question?
The point what I want to talk about to add on within 60 seconds is that we saw something good in the Constitution, or some people politicize it. What we saw is that, one, include more women in the governance and the parliament, more youth in parliament and governance, disabled in government inclusive. Because right now, how many cabinet women do we have? How many women were in parliament compared to the men? How many youth do we have? Most of youth are used as a tool of violence, buying them to look good, that one. Is that what you are going to do with the youth? Because if you look behind, you find that Zambia was founded and independent by the youth. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was 40 years to become a president. Some ministers have got the 35, 30, 18 as a diplomat, VJ. So for us, what I'm saying, why can we put more youth in governance issues, compete with men, orderly? Now, also, we're talking about competition. One candidate will withdraw, and all of them choose down. You start a new nomination, pay again another money. Is it good what you want? So, we are going to.
Okay, we are digressing.
Indeed.
However, the lamentation from Bashmagi is one of those points that we are saying we have to look at the Constitution, because the situation is like it is today, because of the problem is bigger. It starts from the intra-party.
Okay.
For example, the party wants to ensure that they have maybe 60-40% gender composition, or they are going to say we're going to have so much percentage for the youths, so much percentage for the women, and for the men.
That is individual parties.
Yes, individual parties.
Okay.
But they fail to do that because elections are like you're going to play Manchester, then you pick this Run United to go and play Manchester. You know, so they have to choose somebody who's powerful. Like maybe they will look for a businessman in that community to ensure that they win.
Right.
You know, so within the political party, there are what we call selectorates. We call them selectorates. These are the people who are mandated with the power to select who should feature on the ground to ensure that this political party can win. So now, when you know you are standing with this powerful businessman who's known, he's got influence, then you get a youth who's coming from school to go and fight for discussion's sake, Mr. GBM. Okay, you know, so political parties sometimes are tied up. Okay, that's why we are saying let there be a law. Let us amend the constitution so that we can consider what we call affirmative actions. You know,
where parties have to deliberately foul youth candidates.
Yes, they might be compelled by the law,
okay.
Or we can create a system to say in this province we are going to get so many women. In this area we are going to get this by law. You know, so affirmative actions are very good and have worked, you know, elsewhere. Like you can also make what you call a kata system, you know, where certain positions are just preserved. They preserve like that, so that we have a properly composed, you know, parliament.
Mr. Chairman, let me digress a bit and maybe bring you back to the core conversation, which is petition hearing. Hearings, because of the hearings, that the Constitution is flawed. What has made us kind of figure out that we need to revise the Constitution in terms of petition hearings? What are some of the cases that have told us that we need to relook?
Okay.
And I don't mean to
yes.
you to mention specific cases, but
okay.
in general.
Yeah, but really we are alive and privy to the 2016,
right.
That is in the immediate past.
Right, right.
But of course, we have had other cases, several of them. You know, the ushering in of the Patriotic Front, where Mr. Michael Sata, you know, went through a lot of such.
That's back in 2020.
Yes, yes. So now, today, we are privy to a serious case that happened where Mr. Ichirema and Mr. Geoffrey Mwamba Waria, Waria Mwamba, actually, GBM, had sued His Excellency then, Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu, Mrs. Inonge Wina, and the Attorney General. You know, this case was very difficult. The country almost came to a standstill.
Okay.
You know, there was tension everywhere. There was tension. You know, so we really went through a very unfortunate time as a nation. Now here we are. We have this lift to say, let us sit as a nation, let us debate, let us move, and let's have this these lacunas removed, so that we have, you know, increased electoral integrity, you know, as a nation, you know, accountability, you know, because these tensions that we bring, you find some people end up in jail because some people are altruistic in nature, especially in politics. You know, there's pressure in politics. So altruism, find some political cadres or supporters, you know, even become violent during such times. But we can handle that because we are modernizing.
Speaking of, I would say, modernizing, we are a democracy as Zambia. So now, in your view, how will this particular provision strengthen Zambia's democratic processes, but also public trust? Because at the moment, people are quite wary of this particular constitutional amendment.
Oh, well, the issue of trust, really, in a democracy, we cannot achieve 100%. If you achieve 100%, then you are not a thinking nation. That nation must be deleted from the map. Where people agree 100%, that is utopia. That is utopic, So here, what we need to do to enhance. What we need to do to enhance the trust levels is to disseminate as much information as we are doing right now. To hold public forums or fora. I don't know the best English there. Sometimes we suffer from semantics. So public gatherings. The fora, where people come to debate and, engage. Unfortunately, in this country, we have seen that some people feel they are more privileged to talk about the Constitution because of the courses they studied. That is a fallacy. The power to debate in a Constitution discourse comes from your umbilical cord. It comes from your umbilical cord. You don't need to be a constitutional lawyer. You don't need to be a member of a political party. So some people feel they are more Zambian than others, and they want to muzzle, and just to have that first-born tendency of, I'm twisting and making sure that as long as they are opposed, and therefore everybody should oppose. But otherwise, we have groupings that have heard the call by the government of the day. And what we are doing right now is to ensure that this information can reach all the corners of Zambia. In far-flung areas, information is being disseminated.
Like Shekinah alluded to, people are a bit wary of constitutional review, constitutional amendments. In this particular case, when we talk about the provision number 5, why is it important for us to resolve this? I know you alluded to the previous petition back in, I think, 2016. Why is it important that we kind of sort this out and leave it behind us?
I can't make you out clearly.
Why is it important that we address the lacuna that you alluded to in this proposed amendment?
You see, you cannot continue doing the same things and expect different results. So we have an opportunity that let us resolve the issues that would frustrate the electoral system, that will make, or that would make the electoral integrity, of our judicial system, the integrity of our electoral commission or the judicial system in future, when we have, the time to look at the laws and streamline things. So for me, this is the best time, and this is also one platform that every youth, every mother, every man out there, individually and severally, in groupings, political parties, civil societies, and other stakeholders I may not have mentioned, to come together, to come in numbers, and come with their facts. Let us engage and come up with a nation, a great nation.
So now, Mr. Chibamba, over the last couple of weeks, we have been hearing how you've touched on how different stakeholders should come together, but what they've been saying on their end is that they're not being included within this conversation. What is your take on that?
First of all, it takes two to tango. You may be on the left or right, but there are times when you have some people that on the offense, they don't want to take the left or the right hand. However, let us be all proactive. I have seen even the media houses holding public debates, public discussions, and these people are invited, and actually I have attended some of these fora where we have discussed with them, and they have come up with a lot of, negative positions somehow, opposing, because some people think when you are in opposition, your role is just to oppose and oppose vehemently, and vehemently so, but you have to look at the positive things for the betterment of our great nation.
So, are you stating that the opposition or other stakeholders, they do know and understand the benefits of the constitutional amendments, but they just want to reject it because they can?
The apprehensiveness sometimes click in because you know that there is the principle of incumbency at play, because there is a ruling party, that is in power, and of course they are in charge of government. They're in charge. Then you are saying, no, I want to contend. Now, if you just change one or two, maybe you are going to disadvantage me. So like that, they become apprehensive. But as nationals and as patriots, we need to remove doubts and come together. It leads to what we call polarization, where you leave the nation, a nation should have a soul. A nation should have a rhythm. Polarization is bad. Extremists on the left, extremists on the right.
Sorry to cut you. We do have a caller. Hello, good morning. You're through to the Voice of the People. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Please kindly go ahead.
Hello, can you hear us? We can hear you. Hello.
Okay, we seem to have a bad line there.
Unfortunately, you can go ahead with your point.
Yes.
Polarization.
So what I was talking about is this vehemence, where you just say we have to oppose and oppose, even on what is good. Then you create extremists. The extremists on the left and on the right. So the nation is ripped apart. So
sorry to cut you. Would you say that there has been constructive, feedback or criticism, though, from other stakeholders that has been taken into account?
Yes. And they have seen the church mother bodies putting up their positions, and the debate is ongoing. No casting concrete, because we have a time frame, in which to do this.
What is the time frame, by the way?
It is expected that within just a few months we should be concluded, because we are looking at only 13 tenets, unlike complete over of the Constitution, or maybe 70, 78 propositions, just 13. And these are the things we are looking at to avoid, conflict, to avoid the unfortunate situation that happened in 2016. Then we are looking at what the last caller talked about, the inclusion, of women through maybe also women, youths, and the people who are differently abled, through a quota system, or maybe affirmative actions, so that there is that compulsion.
The words on the street that go by, and I'll use some of the words that you used earlier: doubt, apprehension, conflict. The question is, why now? Why are we looking at constitutional amendments at this particular point in time?
First of all, our Constitution has never prescribed
a time
when the president that you choose, or the government that you put in power, should do what they can do at the particular time. When you give me power from day one, as we gave this government power from 2021,
right,
it is within their time frame up to the last day when Parliament will be dissolved. But the president will remain functioning up to the last day. And on the last day, the president can even do predicative of mercy and remove prisoners. I've seen it happen even in America.
Indeed.
Joe Biden did it. Even on the last day, you can't say, because it's my last day, I'm not going to exercise my powers. No, that is wrong thinking, and we are misguiding the nation. When you are in office, I shudder when I hear a leader who's in opposition or who's aspiring, to be a leader in future, saying that because this is the third year or fourth year, then therefore we should stop functioning. Are you shutting down the government? Where is governance? Where is leadership? So there's still mandate up to the last day.
Once again, this is Voice of the People. You can call us up, send us your messages. That's on 0955-997-997 or even on 0979-192-485. In studio, we have been joined, or rather we are joined by Mr. Kingsley Chibamba, who is a political vanguard. And we're touching on constitutional amendments, but also getting information and being aware of what exactly is happening. The current topic at hand is provision number 5 that states about the provision of the hearing and determination of an election petition. So provision number 5 of the proposed constitutional amendment seeks to address this by ensuring that election petitions are both heard and concluded within the stipulated time frame. This amendment aims to enhance legal clarity, provide timely justice, but also strengthen Zambia's electoral integrity. So now, Mr. Chibamba, what is your message that you'd like to share to the citizens, the guy on the street right now who's listening, regarding the importance of this particular provision and the role that it plays within the constitutional amendment process?
I can't make you out.
So I'm saying, what is your message that you'd like to share with the citizens regarding the importance of provision number 5?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that this is very important. Electoral disputes are part of the business in elections. Petitions are part of the key business in elections. There will always be people aggrieved. It's looking okay and peaceful like this. Let the campaign time comes. There will be a lot of, mistreatment, a lot of violence. Sometimes there is this and that. And some people do wrong things with impunity. But when we put a law that will make them reduce on such, wrongdoing, even before petitions come up, we are going to sanitize the climate, political climate. So this is a very sacrosanct component of our constitution. We need to streamline things and categorically state that the petitions must be heard and be determined, which means concluded to logical conclusion.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is, for instance, if a petition is being heard, it could take 30 days and it needs to be determined within 30 days.
It must be prescribed and enshrined
in law
as such, in white and black.
Okay.
By us as a people, of Zambia, so that there will be no leaving it to those people who are interpreters of the law, because let the people decide, and the court will just follow what the people have put forward.
You mentioned that there's 13 proposed amendments. Practically, how do we go about amending these? There's no need for referendum, as you alluded to?
I don't think it's needed, because some people shoot themselves in their legs.
Okay.
Because you find the same citizen is arguing that we need a thorough, review. But meanwhile, the same
or further consultation.
Yes, and then the same citizen is saying we need to save resources. So we have a constricted resource basket. So if the law provides within itself the simplest way and a cost-effective way of doing things, through maybe our leaders who we have sent to Parliament, or through the groupings that are already registered and set, through the youth groupings, through the stakeholders, and through public discussions, which actually other stakeholders actually do sponsor without the government putting up any resources. I have seen KBN do that. I have seen Diamond TV do that, and I've seen other people calling public debate forums, and these things are going on. So we are already getting to a consensus as a nation. Parliament is already discussing, and members of Parliament are also talking to their constituents out there. So let us find the most effective, cost-effective way, for us to do this. But of course, we can like it to have jobs as well as the, when I'm appointed as a commissioner on the Electoral Commission, I'll go around the country and I'll make some money. So some people fight because of a status quo. They know they're used to benefiting, because they want things to remain as they are, because resources have to be spent on them, but we can minimize that as a people and agree. Fighting sometimes is